Okay, so we're going to finish out here. We've done 1, 2, and 3 degree, and so we're going to go ahead and do 4. And generally that's as far as we'll go as far as looking at patterns, because then it just continually repeats after that. So if I have a degree 4, that is called a quartic. Okay, and its basic standard form is ax4 plus bx cubed plus cx2 plus dx plus e. And again, when you have an example of that, you must have the x4. You can skip any of the others that you want. I could have a 2x4 minus 3x plus 1. I can skip any of the others, but I must have an x4 to make it a quartic. Now, let's talk about what the graph of a quartic looks like. And there are so many different forms of what a quartic looks like. So I'm just going to kind of give you the ones that, so I can illustrate to you your solutions. So the first one that we're going to talk about, a lot of your quartics look almost like a parabola. They're more flat, I would say. They're not flat. They look more flat. And so in this case, I would have 2 real solutions. Okay, and I would have 2 imaginary. Okay, because again, I've got to have 4. The other one that you're going to see a lot is when it kind of comes down like this. I kind of call it a W. And again, in this case, we've got 4 real solutions. So you can see all 4 places where it crosses. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so when you factor, this would be factored maybe by grouping and then factored again. So you would end up with 4 real solutions. Now, another one that's kind of common to do is where it touches and bounces and touches and bounces. Okay? And so in this case, again, this has 4 real solutions. And the thing about them are, though, there's 2 distinct roots, because both of them have a multiplicity. So let's say this was, I'll call this one a -3, and we'll just call this one 3. And so your answer here would be x equals 3, and then you would put multiplicity of 2, and then you would say a -3 multiplicity of 2. Okay? Let's see. We'll give you one more. So this one would be maybe something like this. So in this case, I have 2 real solutions. Okay, those are the 2 where it crosses. And this one I would have 2 imaginary. But the key, guys, is it's a quartic. You've got to have 4 answers. That's just it. You got to have 4. If it's a cubic, you got to have 3. Quadratic, 2. Linear, 1. That's just the way it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at it on the other side. If I flip it upside down, so again, this was greater than 0, less than 0, again, it's just going to kind of look the same. It's going to be flipped upside down. Again, we're going to have 2 real solutions here, and you'll get 2 imaginary. Okay, again, the flip would be here. Upside down, again, this would be 4 real. My next one would be, again, those don't look right, but we'll pretend they're touching here and here. Okay, so this would be 4 real solutions. Again, but only 2 distinct. Okay, and then our last one, what did it need to do? It just needed to hit somewhere. We'll call it like that. And so this one has 2 real solutions and 2 imaginary solutions. So when you go to do your own, what you're going to do is you're going to determine what kind of solutions you're going to have ahead of time. And so you'll start off by saying, okay, am I going to have all 4 reals? Am I going to have 2 reals and 2 imaginary? Or am I going to have multiple roots? What am I going to have? Okay, let's finish this up talking about the end behaviors, because I already talked about it a little bit on the other. And that is that this is an even. an even power, even degree. And so if I have an even degree, as I go to positive infinity, I'm going to go to positive infinity. Okay? So we talked about that. As I go to a negative infinity, I'm going to go positive infinity. Okay? And if you look at all four of those graphs, that's what happens. As I go this way, my graph goes up. If I go this way, my graph goes up. All four of those look the same. When I flip it upside down and it becomes a negative, now as I go to positive, this goes to negative. Okay? And the same way as this goes negative, this goes negative. But the key here again to look at is what we talked about earlier on there, what I showed you, is these are the same. Okay? So if nothing else, you take away from this is that if I have odds, 1, 3, 5, these two things will be just the opposite of each other. Okay? If I have evens, they're exactly the same answer. Okay? The only part you're going to have to remember is whether or not you're going up or down. Okay? Okay, well, that's going to finish that. Hopefully, you don't have any trouble. That's as far as we're going to go, up to 4s. It looks like I gave you an extra graph, but that's what we're going to start next is just graphing.